everyone, and thank you for joining me again with another interview on talking about the topics of capitalism and colonization. Today we have my friend and coworker Phil. If you just want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Philip. I moved to Colorado 5 years ago. I'm 33 and I'm security guard at Meow Wolf.
So I posed the question, how does capitalism and colonization affect your environment and the nature surrounding you? So you can start with either or if you want to combine the two.
Okay. I mean, at this point, I feel like it is combined, but I was thinking about that on the way over. It's kind of like it's in everything at this point, and to the point where it affects my emotional well-being daily. Just thinking about, I mean, if I start to really think about how much we're screwing over people instead of helping them in, return for profits, then it really can start to get like super heavy, and but it's everywhere. It affects how we think about each other. It affects, education, health, of the planet, of people. All people care about is getting more money and not even to do anything good with at this point. It's just kind of this runaway train that's just like has a mind of its own and has like education around it that, is pushing everybody towards just making money for themselves, for other people, for companies that don't give a shit or a crap about it, about anything besides that, environmental waste and labor issues and all of that. So yeah.
It just feels like we're in one endless cycle that doesn't stop. Like the capitalists make more money, they make more profit, and they exploit us for these resources because we are the resource in general. And looking at it, and looking at it in that point, we are being exploited. Not only are we being exploited, but like the natural resources that you need to get these things running are being exploited as well. And it's like, what?
It's not sustainable, and it's all short-sighted greed. And I have no actual issue with people making money and having a great idea and making money off of it in some way. That's fine, but we keep screwing over people and destroying the planet, and it's not sustainable. And you can tell that it's not sustainable just by everybody's emotional health. Everybody is on edge. It doesn't matter what side or anything it's on, and the whole thing is just very overwhelming at this point, and we were born into this. I'm 30, almost 33, and I was decades behind being able to actually make systemic change, and it goes back way further than that, not even just talking about capitalism, but just the entire system has been rigged against, not only minorities and everybody, but pretty much anybody that's not in this super rich club. There is a club, black or white. At some point there is a ceiling, and it's screw all of you, you know what I mean? And so we're all just born into this, and we kind of have to fight our way out to find ourselves and find a purpose that we care about and jobs that we care about at all, just anything to kind of just get by in the system while we try to enjoy life and the experience, and it's fighting just to be alive at this point, to be comfortable and enjoy what we have, because capitalism itself I don't think is necessarily the issue, because what it is just making money, people able to be entrepreneurs and do that kind of stuff, but we've skewed everything so much that it's all favoring them now, and nothing's being redistributed, nothing's, being philanthropic is pretty rare nowadays,
My friend actually, in another interview I did, he talks about the pros of capitalism, which is it was very shocking to me.
Well, because if you look at it, in an idealistic way, capitalism is not this awful beast, but it's just it's gotten so far out of whack, and it's mixed up in politics, which then makes the laws about it, which then loosens all these things. So like, yeah, at some point it might have been sustainable and something that we could have kept going and like had a really competitive market for things, you know? I mean, but we stopped making stuff, and we stopped making quality stuff all across the whole board. You know, it's not like we're now making better things because we have better technology. They're making shittier things, you know, and like just so they can make more money, you know, and like nobody becomes a billionaire really unless you're like taking advantage of either people or like the environment, you know? So yeah, it's pretty insane that it is this far gone. And like, so yeah, there is an argument to be made that at its base level, you know, or in the beginning, in the early stages, or the idea of it isn't bad, but where we're at now is like,
It's horrifying.
it's awful. Yeah, I mean, and it's just this thing that we cannot get away from. You think about it all the time, and like, it's just this overarching, just an umbrella over everything. It's like, yeah, remember, that's still there. Planet's still gonna be going to hell, like literally, you know, whether we, it's hard, like, not to get weighed down by it, truly.
Yeah. Like when I first took this course, and like the whole idea about capitalism, like I didn't really think about it that much in the past or like during the course, but when I came up with this question, I started thinking, and like going through the course itself, I started thinking, wow, capitalism is like very prominent in everybody's life.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like you do these things, and these things are called social reproduction.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like your like everyday lifestyle, whether you're going out on a bike or walking or have to go to the grocery store, you know, you're kind of like stuck in this system that is capitalism, because, you know, if you're going on a bike, you have to get the bike, you have to purchase the bike. If you wear a helmet, you have to purchase the helmet. If you wear a certain kind of attire, you have to purchase that attire. Same thing with walking. You have to purchase certain kind of shoes so your feet don't fall off.
Yep.
And just like all these other things, like with the education system itself, you have to purchase textbooks, you have to purchase a laptop,
which is like ridiculous. I mean, like, because you know, the clothing part, in a like capitalist society, I get that. Like, you have to buy these things, whatever. That's another thing. But like, education should be the one that's untouched. Like, at this point, we have the entirety of human knowledge in my pocket, right there, that you can look up anything, and yet we're still charging people amounts that make it inaccessible, you know, and that's a crime. Yeah. That is a fucking. I'm sorry.
No, you can curse.
Okay. That's a crime, and like raising the collective bar should be the goal, and it's not, and it's disheartening, and it's
It's like
it's so upsetting. It is.
It's like certain people, like, they want to move up in this world. I mean, like me, my own experience, honestly, like, yeah, I'm in student debt. I'm not going to name the amount.
Uh-huh.
It's horrifying to think about it. But I mean, when you graduate and you have to start giving it back, I mean, if you choose to give it back, it's like you're stuck already in another system that is giving back to like the people that let you get to this point in your life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it shouldn't be that way. Like, there's all these other countries that are giving out free education.
Yeah, like the entire Nordic part of Europe has like really started to lock down a lot of like the social issues, you know. I mean, I saw a good post the other day. It was like, if fire departments weren't a thing right now and we brought it up, half of you would be arguing that, well, they set their house on fire, you expect us to put it out for free? You know what I mean? Like, the mindset now has like been so shifted towards like this self-interest that people shouldn't have, because corporations and people that actually empowered don't give a shit about anybody that's voting. You know what I mean? Like, they just don't. Like, not the populace, you know? And so like you have it, it's that divide and conquer, you know? Like, we're arguing against each other while they're still just making money and cutting back on privacy and labor and environmental, you know, pollution restrictions and things like that. Like, the entire system is just to keep making money. And that's all shareholders care about, is more and more and more and more, you know? And Yeah, so it's oversaturated. Everything is, you know, and we can't afford houses. We barely afford food, and to do anything fun. You know what I mean? Like aside from going to a park, something free. You know, you have to pay to get somewhere or to have the equipment to do something. You know, like at some point, and yeah, it's hard. And then having to work so much to actually afford those things takes away the time that you would use to do them, you know. And so like time is the most valuable thing that we have, and we have to trade it in order to keep going and keep our head above water here,
Yeah,
you know.
to survive.
Yeah.
And like that brings up the topic of colonization, because colonization is like essentially it's controlling whoever is being, you know, whatever part. I'm not thinking about it as like, you know, this person took this set of land. I'm thinking about colonization as like these people came in and are starting to control the people that used to be on this land. So in a sense, colonization is rooted within capitalism. They're both like two ends to each other.
I mean, it does feed into itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
More people, more money, more power. More people, more money. Yeah.
And it's like it brings up the whole aspect of you saying like we're pinned up against each other, and it also brings up past approaches and current approaches that are still practiced by indigenous people. That sense of like community and support and being one with each other and just like, you know, helping each other out and just not thinking about the whole aspect of competition or seeing like nature as a resource or as a commodity.
Yeah, I mean, empathy and compassion and all of that is like not really rewarded in our society, you know. Like you're supposed to be a go-getter and grinding and just, you know, and I've always wondered like what would have happened if that, you know, just the Native Americans as an example, if that mindset would have been like a big society that had that mindset. Like what would that look like? Like how would technology have evolved down that path? You know what I mean? Would it have been different? You know, can people's greed like ultimately be stopped? You know, because like it is like, and you know, when I think of colonization, I personally, the only thing I think of is taking over land. Like that's all, and it seems like it's already happened. You know what I mean? It seems like colonization led to, well, it didn't lead to capitalism itself, but like it seems like it's already done. All the colonizing that's going for the world has happened already. You know what I mean? Like I might be wrong, and it might be just like my lack of knowledge of the term itself, aside from the one thing I know, but it does seem like, I mean, obviously because of people's greed is why colonization was this thing, and you just cannot get enough power and get enough people, and like, you know, slavery and all of that ties back into making more money too, you know, across the entire world, not just America. But people just kind of suck, you know, sometimes, you know, but we also make incredible art and music and love each other and, you know, beautiful things. So it is like, yeah, it's a weird experience, kind of like being conscious and being aware of what's happening and still not really know what's going on in life, and then having to wrestle that with just being on this grind and being in a system that's not natural, that is completely created by man for himself, you know, like to self-serve them is like taking away from my ability to just experience life. I just want to go out and just explore, you know what I mean? Just see and hear beautiful things and meet beautiful people and just talk and learn and laugh and try food, you know what I mean? Like just swim in the ocean all the time. Like why? It's awful, you know, it sucks. Why are we wasting all of our little amount of time just for what?
To make money.
Yeah.
To survive.
Yeah. And you know, it is like, I mean, I live in air conditioning. I have clothes, like regular clothes, you know, and I drive a car, like, so I'm not like, I don't know, I'm complacent enough that I'm comfortable enough that it's hard. Like, what else am I supposed to do? Like, what else what are my other options? You know, like, I'm not capable of going out in the woods and just living out there by myself. Like, you know, like, there's really no other option. So it's kind of like, I don't know, how do you complain and then be a part of it, but how do you not be a part of you know? Like, there really is no other option. So, yeah, it's rough. It really is.
And it's like those people, and I say those people referring to like indigenous people that
Mhm.
aren't really a part of the whole
That are
topic.
still removed?
Yeah, that
Okay.
are still removed. But they're still facing the whole aspect of colonization in general, because I read this article and it was in regards to this indigenous tribe located in Arizona.
Mhm.
I forget the waterways that they were trying to get their resources back from, but the governor in Arizona was not letting them get the resources. Like,
It's just like cutting off everything around them.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, he was just like, no, we need
White
to.
people fucking suck.
Honestly, and he like, and then like, I think it was like 5 years later or something, he proposed a new bill or act or something to try and help out the indigenous people. I was like, are you joking?
I mean, yeah. At this point, it's all I was like extremely engaged when as soon as I could vote, and was paying attention to everything for years and years and years. So I was like 2008, I turned 18, and so I was really paying attention for like a decade. I was so just involved, and it's emotionally draining to pay attention to everything that's going on and how much we're getting screwed over constantly, and just things just being chipped away and chipped away and chipped away, and how like ingrained that power is, and how unable we are to really break it up, like I don't like to be like hopeless or just, apathetic, but like, what else do we do? Like at this point I've started to like disengage and just try and do as much stuff that I enjoy as I can while I can. That's it. And I don't even know what else to do. Hopefully find a job that I care about, and something that can help other people somehow would be ideal. Yeah, what do you do?
It's literally like when I did an internship back when I lived in Florida, in the capital.
Mm-hmm.
Politics.
Fun.
And Ron DeSantis is still very prevalent in the governing section.
Yeah.
And
I grew up in Oklahoma, so.
yeah. Luckily, I got a Democratic senator to work for and under for. She was pretty nice. I'm not gonna name her, but the bills that I had to read and like basically reconstruct for her, I was like looking at the little nitpick things that are
They
in
throw
there.
in so much extra stuff in those bills.
Yeah.
And call it the Freedom Bill, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, we're gonna start a brand new pipeline, and like, the whole thing is convoluted, and it's on purpose. It's all supposed to be confusing, really long, and they get these bills. I mean, sometimes like hours before you were gonna vote on them, however long. It's like, here's 20,000 pages. Have fun. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, and they only give you like the first little snippet on the ballot. And
Yeah.
It's like, that's not what the bill is about.
Yeah.
You actually read it.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not against the law for it to be, obscenely worded and just like lengthy to the point of being confusing, and like, daily vote isn't even like a national holiday. Get the fuck out of here. Like, this whole thing is a joke. It really is. Like, and you just see it all happening, and it's like I mean, Roe versus Wade 2 days ago. It's just like, literally, I've just been fuming. And it's like, I cannot believe you're watching things go backwards after all of the progress. Like, and I say progress as far as like technology and people coming together and being able to talk, but we're going fucking backwards. It's what in the hell is going on? Like, truly, we are off the rails, and I want off the ride. Like, I'm fucking done. So yeah, I rarely go off on rants like this, because like it's so just disheartening. It just sucks.
But it needs to be talked about.
I mean, yeah, and we do. Me and my friends, there's always something, but yeah, I mean, what can you do aside from just start over? How do you even do that? You know, like, I'm not talking about violence or just like literally burning buildings down, but like, how do you restructure a system like this?
It's like been so embedded for like centuries.
Yeah, and
It's
everybody that was there close to the beginning is still in power now. You know, 80-year-old men just
literally
yelling about things they have no idea about.
Yeah, it's like, dude, like if you like, why are you like what you're saying, like an 80-year-old white guy telling me how to do something about my body? You have the uterus? No. You have the reproductive system? No. Like, go away.
They don't even have
Tend to
like
your family.
they don't even have like a leg to stand on. It's Jesus is the only leg they're standing on. Religion, which is that's a whole other thing. But it's like, I mean, that's being used for control and power too. You know what I mean? Which is what ultimately money and capitalism is just a way to control people. You know, so yeah, money is so much a part of our lives. There's no getting away from it, and the structures that be are so well. Yeah, have such a strong foundation that I don't even know if we'll be able to make it through. You know, just in 30 years, just all these mega corporations, a planet that barely is hanging on, people that fucking hate each other. You know, a divided states of America. You know, like, yeah, it's all possible, but I don't know.
I feel like in like 10 years we're not gonna have a planet to stand on.
Yeah, I've felt like that. I think realistically, like, the ocean swallowing us up is at least like 20, 30 years out, but we need to enjoy this while we have it. Being able to go out, like, everything that's nice right now, we need to really take it in, really enjoy it, because it's not going to be here for long. People start fighting over water, it's over. You know what I mean? Like,
they're already fighting for it.
I mean, I'm fighting for it, but I'm talking about mass populations, not like the entire city of Denver not having water. That's an issue. That's when people start hurting each other. You know.
That's true, and it's also like a controversial myth, because a lot of the water that we have is privatized in these corporations, these sectors.
The land that it goes through too.
Yeah. And like these people privatize it in order to commodify it.
Yeah.
And like make it as a resource.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why are you doing that when people need water and you give it to these farmers because of like monoculture and agriculture and product yield and all this stuff?
Yeah.
It's like, stop.
Well, and I've been I was watching a video lately about like the topsoil and how degraded it is over, you know, decades and decades and decades of farming, and how is it sustainable farming? It might have been the term that they used, but the idea is that you let all these wild plants grow in and around it, all these weeds, you know, that ultimately make the topsoil fertile and keep that, so that every farming season you can see on global like heat maps that the farming season is part of the reason that that the planet is unable to rebound from all of this, is because we're not only polluting it, but we're like very actively destroying all of the topsoil that's available and covering everything else with concrete. And so you know, there are ways that we can farm for mass amounts of people that is sustainable, and there's ways that we can power all this stuff that is sustainable and pay for it, you know, with decent taxes that go towards real things. Like, all of this is totally possible. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody that actually can will, you know. And so, like, we all have a general idea of what would be better, you know, like more education for people. Obviously healthcare, like, what the fuck is that? Access to water everywhere for everyone, no matter what. You just get water because you're a human. Hey, congratulations. You know, like, you get education because, hey, here's where we are after however many, you know, 20,000 years total, I guess, you know, like here's all of the knowledge we have up to this point. Now you go and let's learn some more, you know, like, it's all possible, and it is infuriating that it's not happening when you can see what can be done, and, you know, what people with real money could do, or governments with power could do, but it's all kind of just feeding back into itself. So it's not like the billionaires can all just be like, all right, guys, let's just start signing checks, like, no, because you have fucked governments that are completely corrupt and want all of that. So you have to like fix both at the same time, or fix everything at once. Like, how do you I'm not in a position to offer suggestions on how to do it, but we all know it's not right. And that's enough to be like to open an investigation into why is the world so fucked. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, seriously.
And actually do stuff about it, like real things. Like,
there's like
it's totally possible too. It just sucks.
There's like so many implementations that like can be taken to place of like these like corrupt things, and it's like it all leads back to like greed and money and the word capitalism.
Yeah.
Because like take for example the whole aspect of like carbon offsetting, and just, you know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like the whole thing of
You're
like,
talking about like a personal level, or just like in general, just like offsetting our carbon?
so like big corporations
Okay.
offsetting their carbon.
Yeah.
So like taking,
It's obviously they're the issue, like the biggest issue. But
yeah, because like they're still being approved for these big industries to be existent while they're out. Who knows what they're doing with the part of land that they're supposed to be restoring,
Yeah.
and if it's being regulated, and if it actually is being restored. 9 times out of 10, it's not.
Yeah.
It's like they're just being left there to be, I don't know, for pretty things on paper.
Yeah.
Like,
And then you get just what amounts to like a slap on the wrist. It's like, hey, we'll take a couple $100,000. They just made like $5 billion in profits last year. You know what I mean? Like that, the regulation and everything is just, it's just as corrupt as the government and the industries that it's regulating. So like, and I mean, yeah, looking at anything about 2008, the financial collapse back then, like that's a literally perfect example of people's greed, just like short-sighted greed. Like where's this long-term thinking? Why are, you're supposed to plant trees whose shade you'll never sit in, right? Like that is how like humans really make progress. And I'm going to do this just because I know it helps people in general, as a whole. Doesn't matter who, just people. That's it. That way of thinking would just help so much. And then, you can figure life out while having a place to sleep and having food and water. And you're, somewhat healthy, and you have your teeth. The luxury bone. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this entire thing's ridiculous. Yeah.
I'd say this is probably just me, like, being hopeful. But I feel
It's
like
good to be hopeful.
Yeah, I feel like just divide the rich with everything. Just like have the rich divide up their money. We wouldn't have like a poor class. We would bring those people up.
Yeah.
And just have like a regular middle class. But even then, I feel like people would just be, greed would overcome that hopeful aspect, and just.
Yeah, you need rules. Like, we would need to like make rules for politicians. Like, hey, you can only make this amount of money. If you're taking money from this guy and you're voting for him, that's illegal. You're gone. Thank you for your time. There's also term limits. You can't be in there forever, and you can't be in there past 50.
I think we
You're
should
done
raise
making-
that lower. We should make it like 35.
I mean, I would say probably a little bit older, because you can still make sound like decisions about the rest of your life, because like you still have half of it or so to live at 40 or 50, right? Ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, definitely should be older than that, especially because you should be going off to
Retire.
wherever. Yes, you sit on a beach somewhere, sir. You know what I mean?
You clearly have the money for it.
Yeah, but it's more than money. It's just power for people, and government like that doesn't draw people that don't care about it. The people that, only people that care about power end up there, really. Besides Bernie Sanders, and everybody's just, he's like the one guy that like anything he says is like It makes a lot of sense. It sounds like it helps a lot of people for no reason other than just doing it. And
like,
he should. Yeah, didn't even get to vote for the guy. Fuck out of here. That's when I was like actually done, when the Democrats weren't even like gonna get behind him because he was too radical for them because they want to make money too.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not like they're any better. They're just like slightly less racist, slightly, maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe they're better hiding it. Yeah. No, deadass. Like the whole thing is awful.
Yeah. I honestly see like no difference between like the Democratic and the Republican Party besides the fact that like the Democrats are just better hiding it. Of like I saw this like post on, I think it was Instagram, and it was like the Republican and the Democrats and like Bugs Bunny just saying like no, and then the Republican is just no, and the Democrat is no with the BLM fist.
Yes.
The LGBTQ plus like rainbow flag and like all these other like liberal aspects to it. I was like, wow, that's spot on.
Yeah. And then, you know, woke companies, you know, throwing a rainbow flag and you know, a little fist emoji behind their posts, but still saying fuck you ultimately, or just with a smile, you know. And so it's everywhere, and you know, there's a lot of people that are able to think outside of it, you know, and see it for what it is, but there's a lot of people that are caught up in it, and they'll argue for it even if it's screwing them over. You know what I mean? They're still voting for it, and so I mean, voting is good, but who are there any good choices anymore? Like, it's so watered down that like you look at it and you're just like, I can't believe I actually have to choose between one of these two people. You know?
That's literally me with the whole Donald Trump and Joe Biden election. I was just like,
and
I ended up not even voting.
I don't want Joe Biden in there either, but significantly better than Trump. Like, not even a question. So that was easy, but he's not what I was looking for either. You know, like, or anybody that I know, like. He just is slightly less racist than Donald Trump, which is not that hard to do, you know? So, like, the bar is still really low. And, you know, AOC was probably one of the only people up and coming that, like, you know, not only being a Latina, like, woman, but, like, being very, like, just kind and kind of, like, just logical about social issues and what we need to do to fix things, you know? Like, people like that is what we need, like, more of in places of power. And maybe if you took away the money and power that comes along with that, like as much of it that comes along with being in that position, then people won't gravitate towards it that are, you know, trying to screw people over and just be assholes, you know? But, you know, they're going to be the ones that vote for that. So I don't see them voting to take away their power or money anytime soon, you know? So what do you do? Yeah, we go out and have fun and be grateful, seriously, for life. That's it. And just like, because you have to like get through all these like capitalist shit, and then you can just like, just remember that we're human and we're on Earth, and while it is good to fight and help things, like, take care of yourself. Go outside, walk, be quiet, drink water. You know what I mean? And like, just fucking relax every once in a while. You know, we can't fix all this by ourselves. You know, if the revolution comes, I'm there, I'm ready to go. But I'm not gonna like kill myself, like, you know, and drain all of my energy trying to fix a system that's ingrained. You know, it's a mountain. I'm not gonna be able to move it by myself. So disengaging and being grateful is pretty much what I've ended up doing, you know, to just like reclaim my mental and emotional health a little bit.
That's good. Because we need to, you know, like you're saying, just separate ourselves from all of this. Because like if we think about it like too much, I sometimes feel like right now with me making this video series, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, get you
like,
all hyped, I know.
Yeah,
but then,
like,
you know, sorry to interrupt, but my cousin, like, they are s- doing something so active. They are an activist, like the definition of it, and like always posting about it, always going to stuff, always doing stuff, and it's incredible. I could never have that amount of energy. So like everybody's different, you know. I'm not like saying to give into apathy or like just be okay with what's going on, but like you have to if it's taking a toll on you, you have to take a step back and you know, try and just bubble yourself from everything and just look up at the stars for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like enjoy the sky. And but I mean, we need people that are going to be chaining themselves to tractors and bulldozers and like, you know, going out and protesting and things, you know. But you have to remember that we have a limited time here. You don't want to spend the whole existence screaming, or at least I don't. You know, I want to have fun. I want to chill. I want to relax a little bit. You know, yeah. So how long have we gone?
Gone for like 36 minutes.
Oh, man,
It's a lot of talking.
yeah.
Do you want to wrap it up and have any final thoughts?
That's pretty much it. I feel like at some point I start going around in circles. So, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Fuck capitalism.
Honestly, amen. Not amen, but yeah, period. Okay, well, thank you for watching, and come back next time. I think I have 2 more people. Okay, bye.
Adios.